he ends up now making food, right, out of nowhere. And of course, Christian, we get that corny moment in the episode where just like, wow, over the top acting, but it's okay. Wow, this is fantastic. I can't believe I'm eating so well. Now let's go ahead and get into the bulk and why a lot of people are tuning in right now. And that is Kingdom. So let me go ahead and play this trailer on Netflix, and then we will be back with our review on this zombie time period piece. And Kingdom, the show that already came out on Netflix yesterday, January 25th, is the biggest craze that a lot of people are talking about. And Christian, I know zombies have become one of the biggest double-edged swords recently in our times, right? With people riding it too high, and then there's lots of lows. But when you see a show like Kingdom, where it's like, let me get this straight. So it is a zombie show and a period piece, and now we see pretty much the early beginnings, or at least in Korea, for the show about how a zombie plague has spread an entire kingdom, and it's up to the prince, the crown prince, to maybe go ahead and investigate with his bodyguard to figure out what the hell is really happening around us. So, with the few episodes that you have watched, Christian, what do you think of Kingdom?
Again, arms race, right? So doesn't look cheap at all. Like everything looks immaculate. The cinematography is wonderful. All that jazz is cool. Even like the atmosphere, like the show starts and I think it's 5 minutes before anyone says a word. Like they take their time with pacing. Like these are like mostly hour longs, and I mean not 45 minutes, like 55 to 57 minutes each episode. So they have time to kind of breathe and do stuff in it. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but in those first 2 episodes, I've seen like straight up love letters to George Romero, like doing some Night of the Living Dead shit, shadow shots and whatnot. What I like about it the most, though, is that predominantly the zombies are window dressing. Like there is a whole complete story of betrayal and intrigue and stuff that's completely removed from the zombies. And that's what I like, because it's like, they fully realized the world they wanted to have the story in first. And then they were like, and we can have zombies. Most of the time, like some shows, lesser shows would kind of just rely on the crux, Walking Dead. But this one really builds the world up and makes you care about people. And it's got some Game of Thrones overtones to me. What do you think, man? Give me your real, deep thoughts onto it.
Yeah, I like this show a lot. There's 2 things I've noticed when I actually saw some other people review Kingdom that I don't know how they kind of glossed over. Is, when I hit you up, I said, this is not the show that I wanted. Like, so let's talk about it for a bit, right? Kingdom starts off with some beautiful cinematography, and actually, let me just kind of make that a point. I think throughout the show, when you look at the cinematography this show has to offer, you're like, wow, Netflix spent, went above and beyond to even, I feel like the pitch of the show would have been like, yeah, they could have half-assed it, but they went 100% with the set design, the production, those wide view shots that you get when you watch this show. Fantastic. So when I was watching it in English, right, sometimes I would have trouble just misunderstanding what they're saying, because when you find out what the show is, they talk like this. Some people might like it. Some people immediately might get turned off. It bothered me. It didn't bother me that much. Now, let it be said, there is corny comedic moments in this, right? But it felt like it was this serious show I wanted to watch with these comedy moments. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Because I felt like I was watching something really good, and then they'll do some really cheesy character moments that I wouldn't necessarily agree with. And then I did something interesting, Christian. Then I actually put it in the original language that that was on, Korean. So now I'm watching it in Korean dub with English subtitles. it's the show now I want to watch.
Yeah, I don't understand
Yeah.
why this is one of those things, you watch animes dubbed, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so that's what happened, man. For me, I turned that shit on and it was immediately in Korean. So I had no idea. Anytime you watch anything dubbed, it just takes you out of it immediately because it's almost like you fall into that uncanny valley where people's lips are still moving, but the words aren't syncing up and it gets you fucking disoriented and shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a completely different experience. But like just from the get, like that's why I think like when you texted me, I was so worried. I'm like, oh shit, what if it's just a misstep? And it's not that. You just didn't see it the right way. And that, I think that we should recommend that, right? As a show, like please watch it in the native language. Like just read, trust me, it comes across way better. You understand characters' emotions and their intent better. But yeah, I honestly, I just thought they did a great job of setting up the tone. They have like these beats, dude, that are straight horror film. Like, all right, so spoiler, there's a scene in the beginning, right? There's a body that gets brought back dead. We saw it briefly there in the coffin.
Yeah.
And they bring it back to this town where everyone's starving. And then, a couple scenes later, everyone's eating and everyone's real happy. And I'm like, they didn't do this, did they? They didn't really, like, just waiting for them to subvert the expectation. But no, dude, like, what the fuck happened. And they just milk it so perfectly. Because, like, dude, how funny is it when people are just eating? Like, have you ever seen anyone that happy eating like a bone before? Like, it was the worst fucking foretelling ever.
You know what's so bad, and that's like one of the things. I mean, listen, they have to do the setup, right? So I understand it. But for people, to give some more context, right? Like the Sobi is actually the physician, right? The nurse, the village nurse trying to cure people. And there's a moment where she's talking with one of the guys she ends up healing, and she's like, "Man, like our people were hungry, and I don't think like the kingdom that's supposed to like watch us, they're not going to give us food. Like we're kind of screwed here." So of course, now let's go to this shot where one of the main physicians is trying to figure out pretty much the outbreak or the origins of the zombies, right? And we see this. Sobi goes up to the physician and is like, "Hey, what's wrong? Did you figure out anything?" And he's like, I can't talk. So now, of course, we get to this scene here, and Sobi, who helped out that one guy that's like, well, listen, we got to help out our people somehow. He ends up now making food, right, out of nowhere. And of course, Christian, we get that corny moment in the episode where just like, wow, over the top acting, but it's okay. Wow, this is fantastic. I can't believe I'm eating so well. And everyone's cheerful and they're happy. And now they want to know the origins of the zombie apocalypse. I wonder what happened. Maybe it wasn't the dead person that eventually became soup for everyone, right? And of course, when you get that, that realization of a finger in the soup, it's like, oh, how could you to this one guy? He's like, well, I got to go and protect my people, of course, right? Or I got to protect everyone in this village. Then, we get the beginnings of this zombie apocalypse. But there's moments where I hate that character. The guy who pretty much started this zombie apocalypse to help out his people. Because there's moments where he's like, you guys got to listen to me. These undead people, that they don't have a mind of their own and they're crazy. And it's your fault, right? When he talks to other people throughout the episode about it spreading, when I'm here thinking, listen, it was pretty much said in the beginning when you see a person like this eaten not by a boar, but flesh everywhere, that something kind of messed up has happened. So you pretty much caused a zombie apocalypse, but you want to blame it on someone else. You're an asshole, dude. Just saying. So, but I'm getting too carried away with something really minute here. Christian, what else were you entangled with, when you were watching this show?
Well, I just like the whole concept of like the initial outbreak isn't from a zombie biting a human, but humans consuming zombies. Like it's kind of a subversion of what you normally get from zombie films, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah, this guy was dead, sure, but that's not what started the big spread. It was everyone eating his dead body afterwards, not knowing that he was a zombie. So I kind of like that. I just thought that was an interesting concept for it. The other cool thing is like, again, there's just political intrigue, right? Like we kind of skipped over the crown prince is also accused of trying to have his father killed. You realize that his like stepmom is pregnant with a legitimate heir. And, there's like all this fucking moving parts going around and then zombies, which is like the best part of it. So I feel like it's a really rewarding show, man, because it's not resting just on that we got dead fuckers walking around. It's like really created an interesting, intricate world with a bunch of characters. And yeah, there's comedic moments. But that's kind of a staple of Asian cinema, man. Like even like the ones that permeate to the West, you know, you think of like Shaolin Soccer or Kung Fu Hustle, any of that kind of stuff. They always have those comedic moments that are a little bit over the top, but it's in service of the tone that they're trying to set. And I think that that's what's really cool about this show. It's funny at parts, but when it needs to get serious and fucking intense, the lighting is perfect. The music is amazing. Like all of it really clicks for me.
So there's actually some deeper stuff that, although this is still pitched as a zombie show, period piece, right? Set out in Korea in the 15th century. I do like how there's some actual Game of Thrones plot stuff happening here, right? And you see here in the image where it's like, oh, the feudal lord doesn't look so healthy, only to find out that, you know, one of their ambitious minister kind of wants to take over, but still has to keep the king alive. So you see some stuff dealing with, you know, treasonous acts, some people plotting over people to kind of get what they want, right? You get some of the other like feudal lords throughout the show that, you know, they in their heart, they want to do the right thing to save the people, but then they have that sleazeball assistant that's like, yes, I took care of everything. You don't have to worry about anything else, you know, for the deal with his own selfish desire. So there's lots of great things in the show that I like, and I cannot recommend enough because you're right. The zombies are the supporting cast in this, and it's pretty much forwarding the story to go where it ends up going. But they're not the main focal points. It's pretty much, you know, this crown prince here trying to figure out what the hell do I need to do to stop all this. But on top of all that, dealing with I guess the bureaucracies of, you know, the bureaucracies of the setting that he's in, right? So, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. So they do something interesting, and I won't get too heavy into the spoilers of it all. I do like how these zombies in this show, they're only up at night. So, so when it's, you know, when we're at the crack of dawn and it's 5 a.m, we need to get to work, right? Either, you know, bury the bodies or do what you have to do to eliminate the zombies, which, of course, a lot of people know what it is, but for the sake of spoilers, I won't mention it, right? So I do like that angle. And there's one scene I thought was just kind of hilarious where, you know, after the zombies take over, right? They destroy one of the villages. When the nearby villages are like, oh my God, what do we have to do to get out of here, right? Like, you know, like what do we do? And then they end up finding out how to stop the zombie problems, right? And this one feudal woman, like this higher up, she's like, you know, if we bury the bodies or if we, you know, discriminate these corpses, you know, what does that say about our old ancestor traditions and all that? And to that, I'm like, wow, I like how they kind of add, you know, this ancestry traditions, you know, with the Korean era, right, in the 15th century. I thought all that is really cool. At the same time, I'm watching this lady give this speech, and you know, everyone, because the acting is over the top sometimes, they're like, oh, you're right, like what should we do now? Like I don't know how else to get out of this. And I'm here thinking as the audience viewer, baby girl, we just survived this fucking shit we never heard of. I don't give a shit about what my ancestor says. I don't want to become one of them, okay? Get the fuck out of here. So something I just wanted to quickly mention, because when I saw that, I just laughed, and I don't know, I just wanted to throw it out there. So, Christian, is there any last second thoughts you want to bring up with Kingdom?
Nah, man, you just blew my mind with that last bit. But no, just go watch it. It's fucking great. I really like it. And again, it's not like it's not 22 episodes. It's 6 episodes only. So get on it. We're going to do probably a full review next week. So if you guys have seen it, you can chip in the conversation. And of course, we encourage that. So get to watch it.
What do you guys want out of Kingdom? Was this the show you wanted? Was this the show you didn't want? I forgot to say, go ahead and comment down below what you think of Kingdom so far.